Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime, channel 294 on DSTV. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today presided over the fourth graduation ceremony of the Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences at the institution's Fernhill campus in Mutare, where he kept 198 graduates. Now, highlights from that graduation ceremony coming up here on Newsplus. The president also held a meeting with renowned evangelist Pastor Benny Hinn, who is in the country for a 3-day crusade that's expected to draw tens of thousands of worshippers to the Miracle Gardens Ashton in Harare. Now stay tuned for details on the cleric's meeting with the president. We shall also take a look at service delivery, with residents and Harare City Council officials exchanging accusations over recurrent bursts of sewer pipes. And in sport, we shall give you results from the World Cup qualifier pitting the Zimbabwe Warriors and South Africa's Bafana Bafana. Now for your top stories in greater detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa this afternoon presided over the fourth graduation ceremony at Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences in Mutare, where he kept 198 graduates. Now, the ceremony was attended by Defense Minister Opam Chinguri Kashiri, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Dr. Frederick Shawa, Minister of Information, Dr. Jenfan Muswere, and Minister of State for Manicaland Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Advocate Mishek Mugadza, among other senior officials.
198 graduates, the fourth cohort from MSUAS, were awarded accolades this afternoon, a true reflection and appreciation of the years they put in to attain these degrees. The graduating class comprised 49% females and 51% males. The ceremony ran under the theme Knowledge and Innovation in Action, echoing Vision 2030's call for applied learning and solutions that drive national development. Vice-Chancellor Professor Albert Chawanda outlined the university's push into practical, life-saving research and technology.
The university continues to align its teaching, research and innovation mandate with the broader national aspirations which you so ably champion. In this era of rapid technological advancement and escalating global challenges, research and innovation stand as the pillars of sustainable development.
The university highlighted projects aimed at solving local problems, blending tech and community impact.
I now move on into research and innovation. Research and innovation remain at the heart of our mandate as an applied sciences university. I am therefore delighted to report a number of milestones that reflect our growing impact both nationally and globally.
MSUAS also announced major international recognition and local tech initiatives.
Continuously ensure that the university policies and procedures are aligned with the highest standards of integrity and accountability.
The university is also developing its innovation and agro-industrial park. Plans include a stock feed plant and a game park to boost enterprise, training, and tourism. For these graduates, it was not just an end, but a beginning, proof that applied knowledge can build livelihoods and lift communities.
Now, later in the day, after capping the graduates, President Emmerson Mnangagwa received world-renowned evangelist Pastor Benny Hinn at State House in Harare. The meeting that marks a significant moment for both Zimbabwe's spiritual landscape and its growing religious tourism sector. Ibn Mabunda gives us more.
Now, global televangelist Benny Hinn paid a courtesy call on President Emmerson Mnangagwa at the State House ahead of a 3-day crusade that is expected to take place in the capital, Harare. Pastor Hinn was accompanied by Tourism and Hospitality Industry Minister Barbara Rodzi, senior government officials and members of the clergy, all gathered to witness the preacher's symbolic engagement with the head of state ahead of his 3-day gospel crusade. The visit underscores government efforts to harness the power of faith-based gatherings to promote unity, economic growth, and tourism diversification through Zimbabwe's religious tourism cluster.
But thank you for being here. And now we're on our way to go preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to the people of Zimbabwe. The power of God will be present, amen, in a glorious way, and I know that from the Lord himself. So make sure to come and join us in this great crusade here in Harare. God bless you.
Officials say Pastor Hinn's visit represents a milestone in positioning Zimbabwe as a regional hub for faith-based tourism, expected to draw thousands of believers from across Africa and beyond.
His Excellency received us very well. We talked about so many issues. First of all, we thanked him for the development that we are seeing in Zimbabwe. That Zimbabwe, Pastor Benny Hinn also mentioned, that Zimbabwe works like a center of Southern Africa. As Zimbabwe receives the gospel, continue to be blessed.
Church leaders from the region joined in welcoming Pastor Hinn, describing the engagement as symbolic of Zimbabwe's rising profile as a destination of both faith and peace.
It was a very productive meeting. We also told him how he is actually a beacon of light in Africa. What we see in Zimbabwe today is a sign to all of us. Me, I'm from Uganda. The delegations that have come from different African countries, that for sure when we look at Zimbabwe.
The 3-day crusade, slated for the Miracle Gardens in Ashton Park, Harare, is expected to attract tens of thousands of worshippers, boosting not only faith but also local tourism.
All Zimbabweans to come, all believers near and far, let's come tonight, tomorrow and Sunday. It shall be explosive. Don't miss it for any reason.
Faith meets leadership at the heart of the nation, setting the tone for a weekend of prayer, healing, and unity. As the Miracle Gardens prepare to welcome thousands, Zimbabwe stands ready for spiritual and economic uplift. Religion continues to play a critical role in Zimbabwe's nation building and nation development agenda. This as Zimbabweans continue to express their democratic right of the freedom to worship. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Eben Mabonda at the State House.
Now, in other news, nearly a third of traffic lights in Harare's central business district are not functional. The city fathers are blaming vandalism, theft, and consistent power cuts. All this is happening while there is an ongoing debate over the decision by the country's power utility to place critical infrastructure, including traffic lights, on the prepaid metering system. Now, Talent Kore gives us more in the following report.
This is one example of the many traffic lights within the Harare CBD that has not been working in many months. The city of Harare has identified vandalism, theft and power cuts as the main problems, but it says that it will try by all means to ensure that each and every traffic light within the Harare CBD is working in due course.
As the sun sets over Harare, the city prepares for nightfall. But in the shadows of Zimbabwe's capital, something is missing. 1 in every 3 traffic lights is dead. This is not just about bulbs and wires, it is about safety, economy, and trust in the systems meant to protect commuters. Out of 69 traffic light controlled intersections, 21 are not working. The city of Harare cites power supply disconnections, vandalism, theft, and accidents as the main causes.
Yes, we have a plan to fix the traffic lights. One of the major issues with our traffic lights has been the power cuts. When there is no power, obviously the traffic lights will not work. So we are coming up with alternative sources of power to complement the power that we get from the national grid.
To ease congestion, traffic officers have been deployed, but for motorists this is only temporary.
Pana we lights, traffic lights, inokonzeresa. Zikuru peak hours. Kana traffic light isingashande apa unenge uchimhanya kwaunenge washedzwa kuti ukurumidze kubata nguwa zvinoita kukonzera kuti unonoke because motikari dzine dzaloka saka tinokumbira kuti pagadziriswe dai zvichiita kana kushandisa masola kana magetsi achinetsa woshandisawo masola
tinototiwo dai kuri kunzi inokwanisa kutiitira ka ndokuti maaccident mamwe anoavoidika nenyaya nokuti mamwe ari kukonzeresiwa neizvozvo dai ikazamawo nepainokwanisa kuti itigadziriwo marobots chitowedzera nemalines like pamarobot ipapo unongoisa zve demarcation lines haasi kuwanikwa haana kunyorwa saka unopolozona uchiswevha achida kuenda kuda kutotsvaga laini imwe iri kuuyawo apa pamakatonanga pamarobhoti ipapo.
Stakeholders say commuting has turned into daily nightmares.
Marobhots edu haasi kutomboshanda zvacho seguta rose. Macity fathers handizive kuti vari kupaonawo sei because ivo vanofambawo nemumarobhots imomo. Tiri kuti isusu dai paita department ravo rakangomirira kuona marobots emukati mutaundi munomomo kuitira kuti pasaite congestion because hazvisi kutombobatsira because marobots haasi kushanda taundi yese. Tikatendera taundi yese toona majunction akawanda mune marobots but marobots acho asingashandi. Magetsi anenge ariko but marobots anenge asina. Hazoti maengineers avo varikutadza basa here.
The debate has intensified since ZESA introduced prepaid meters for traffic lights. The utility company argues the introduction of prepaid meters ensures accountability, but critics warn it could endanger lives.
It has a disastrous effect on the public. It increases crime. It can cause accidents when these things are not used up properly in time.
City officials say a modern traffic management system with synchronized traffic lights and remote monitoring is planned, but for now, road users remain at the mercy of faulty lights. With both council and ZESA defending their positions, the debate now centers on whether essential services like traffic lights should ever go dark simply because the meter has run out.
The city of Harare and residents in high-density suburbs are embroiled in a blame game over a sewage crisis characterized by frequent bursts. Recent reports have shown a rise in sewage bursts, particularly in Mbare and in Glenview. And while residents are blaming the city for late response and poor service delivery, the authorities are countering by blaming residents for causing blockages in the drainage system.
Residents here are complaining about the sewer pests. As you can see, this raw sewage has been here for almost 4 months.
Former Commonwealth flyweight champion Alfonso Mosquitos Renyika is among those affected. He resides along Mushongandev Street and expressed his frustrations. Despite attempts to engage with the local authorities, he feels their concerns have fallen on deaf ears.
Vanhu vacho vekanzuro vacho vari kungouya sometime vari kupfuura nenzira vachingonongedzera vakauya vanongomira doing nothing machitengise ngechirapwa papi chakatowira matombo hachisi kutofunctiona kana tikati tapinda mudzimba dzedu tiangokuta zematoilet ati mungoti mazariro akaita matoilet iti hazvichabatsira saka tachikumbira kuti isusuka Harare City Council ngaiuyewo ihelpe.
My Jaden, another resident, echoed Renyika's sentiments, revealing that many have now resorted to bathing in the open due to blocked toilets, highlighting the dire circumstances they face daily.
Some
residents feel they've done their best to engage the council, but to no avail. Senior citizens have described the situation as a ticking health time bomb. They feel it poses a risk to children who spend most of their time playing on these streets.
Council yacho haina zvairi kuita, tapa report zvekare asi hapana chiri kumboitwa. Utano vanhu tiri kunzwa mudume nezvikuru kupisa, nhunzi dzinenge dzichiti dzikabva panze dzonopinda mumba dzonomhara pachikafu.
City Council vachona ngavauyewo vagadzirise ngavauye vagadzirise zvinhu kudai so. Iye zvino vanhu vakuwara kunoku nemudumbu nenyaya yemasewage yaya.
However, acting town clerk engineer Pakamile Mabenamoyo stated that to alleviate the blockages, they are upgrading the infrastructure, which has long outlived the population.
Residents are vandalizing the cast iron lids, taking them, selling as scrap, and that is letting in a lot of sand, it's letting in a lot of undesirable items going into our system. So we're also replacing cast iron sewer lids with polycarbon ones.
Meanwhile, City of Harare's head wastewater, Simon Mserere, blamed the residents' attitude. He said the treatment plant at Fell Sewage Works receives 6 to 10 tons of sand every day, contributing to persistent blockages.
Also, you have got a lot of residents in the peri-urban. They throw stones into the main sewer lines so that they irrigate their vegetables. So this is one of the reasons why you then find sewage backflowing into the communities. And we've got several of these blockages now to deal with. So at times you may think city of Harare workers are not working, yet we are busy working in the fields to remove those sand. At times we have to dig in order to remove the sand.
The rains are coming. A health time bomb is looming. Hopefully the authorities will take heed of the call by the residents in Shongandevu Street. Latu Nyang, 44 Prime, in Bari National.
Now, shortly after the break, we'll give you an update on a local miners report.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back. It is Friday, the 10th of October, 2025, and you're watching Newsplus. Now, in another one of our top stories, local miners are appealing to authorities for stricter screening of foreigners posing as investors. Now, Zimbabwe Miners Federation President Henrietta Rushwaya says these investors are behind rising cases of environmental degradation, exploitation, and violence against local miners. She said this at the Small-Scale Miners Conference at the ongoing Mine Entra in Valayo, and we give you more in the following report.
The Zimbabwe Miners Federation said while small-scale mining remains a key pillar of the economy, the sector is under threat from illegal investors posing as partners. Zimbabwe Miners Federation President Henrietta Rushwaya says genuine local miners are being pushed aside while foreigners exploit resources and harm the environment.
As a result, it's this same foreigners who come and mine on mining land which is less than 2 hectares, and it's right behind our grandmothers' kitchens. This piece of land is right where our forefathers' graveyards are. And where do you expect us to go, honestly?
She appealed for tight screening of foreign investors entering the mining sector, warning that a lax in oversight has led to unending conflict and even violence. Rushwaya wants small-scale mining to be reserved for locals.
Any land which is below 40 hectares should be made a preserve for the locals, and our chiefs should also be allowed to exercise their right as the people who have the social license out there to ensure that our reserved and preserved areas continue to be preserved in order for us not to lose our identity as Zimbabweans.
In response, Deputy Minister Caleb Makwiranzo revealed that government is reviewing the vetting process for foreign investors to ensure compliance with national laws.
Your potential must be measured in progress. We are accurately looking at how your growth is being hampered by certain challenges. I've been talking to your leadership, and some of your challenges include affordable finance and your use of outdated technology and environmental concerns.
Environmental Management Agency Matabeleland South Manager Decent Tovu said some of the illegal operators were causing serious land degradation and pollution, urging stricter enforcement.
The review of the current legislation, the Act is being amended to include issues of progressive rehabilitation, as earlier alluded to, where miners or mining entities are not considering progressive rehabilitation, where as you mine, you rehabilitate and avoid land degradation.
Zimbabwe Miners Federation CEO Wellington Takabarasha emphasized the call for stronger protection for genuine local miners.
The government is really taking seriously points and issues that has to do with the formulation of the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill. It's still in the progress. The first reading has been done, and the mining portfolio and mines and mining development is actually going to do some round robin to gather important or inputs from the artisanal small-scale miners themselves, considering the fact that the small-scale miners really noticed that there has been some omissions on some issues pertaining to or policies that are palatable to the artisanal and small-scale mining.
Zimbabwe Association for Artisanal Miners says they were bringing sanity to the sector through programs that assist players in the sector to formalize operations in line with the laws of the land.
What we are doing is we are making sure that wherever the artisanal miner is, us as Zimbabwe Artisanal Miners Association, we want to find out who owns. If it is the government, we talk to the government. If it is an EPO, we talk to the EPO holder. If it is an individual, we talk to the individual, so that we have a setup of formalizing, because we are here to formalize, capitalize and capacitate.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe also urged small-scale miners to adhere to financial regulations, warning that some foreign-linked operations were being used for money laundering and illicit gold trading.
So we need to ensure that we protect our own financial system, ensure that we do not have criminals that then abuse our own facilities for purposes of cleaning their dirty proceeds. So as small-scale miners, we are also involved in this mutual evaluation exercise that is going to happen next year.
Well, good evening and thank you very much. So today is day 3, which is the last day of Mine Enter 2025, which is running alongside AfriConference 2025. Today we had the Zimbabwe Miners Federation Conference, which is with a special look on small-scale miners who are contributing at least 60% of the country's total gold submissions to Fidelity, and most of the conversations here have been about sustainability and labor, as well as the litigation regulations. So small-scale miners have been talking about the challenges that they are facing in their sector, as well as how government and other partners can come in to address those. The guest of honor was the Deputy Minister for Mining, and a special address was given by the President of the Zimbabwean Miners Federation, Henrietta Rishwaya. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Moving on, youths in Manicaland province have begun benefiting from the recently launched Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, with 9 young people receiving farm mechanization equipment yesterday. Now, the equipment includes tractors, it also includes discs, boom sprayers and planters that are aimed at enhancing agricultural productivity among young farmers. Speaking during the official handover ceremony held in Mutare, ZANU-PF Manicaland Provincial Chairperson Stanley Sakupwanya said the program will help transform the beneficiaries into commercial farmers.
Vision 2030 tikuiona nhasi mayouth emanicaled akufara kuti paevery district pawanikwa ruoko rwepresident. Nhasi kune matractor apohwa wechidiki, matractor iwayo asipo ari matractor ega ane maimplements akaita semagejo, madisk, maplanta nematrailer. Mayouth ari kufara ndizvo. Hazvisizvo zvega zvakaitwa navamunangagwa kuno kuManicaland. Vakaita zvakawanda kubatanidza nyaya yeminda 10 hectare scheme yavakaita, nemombe dzavakapa nemastands avakapa wechidiki.
The beneficiaries of the scheme expressed gratitude to President Mnangagwa and pledged to also make the equipment available to their communities in order to enhance food security at local level.
charangarirwa napresident zvakanyanyisa
titenda chirongo chiri pano president last trailer titenda uye tikurizira vari kuita akasike kutanga kuramba chingoti mayuthi.
Zimbabwe is stepping up its efforts to fight maternal health, gender-based violence, as well as advancing sexual reproductive health with the United Nations Population Fund and stakeholders already in consultative meetings that will inform cooperation areas with the government. The UNFPA has begun consultations with key stakeholders for its 9th country program that's set to run from 2027 to 2031.
UNFPA is currently implementing its 8th country program running from the 2022 to 2026, which focuses on advancing maternal health, family planning, sexual and reproductive health, and ending gender-based violence. The UN agency believes a healthy society starts with the well-being of mothers and newborns. Through UNFPA's support, Zimbabwe has advanced programs to reduce maternal mortality, a key national indicator for sustainable economy in social development. Speaking after the consultative meeting for the 9th country program, the UNFPA highlighted how prioritizing maternal and child health breaks the cycle of poverty and illness, ensuring that no mother dies while giving life.
Actually linked to 3 transformative results. We have 3+1. The first one is zero maternal deaths. If you look at zero maternal deaths, it falls within the broader vision that the population has to be healthy and no woman should die giving birth. They will have zero on many for family planning, which also is something that family planning and having children should be by choice, not by chance. And we'll have all those issues related in our different country program outputs. They will have zero gender-based violence and harmful practices. We don't need gender-based violence in the country. We don't need to have harmful practices in the country. And they will have zero new infections on HIV and AIDS.
Under the 8th country program, UNFPA has also implemented strategies to ensure access to a variety of family planning options. By improving supply chain systems, UNFPA has enhanced sexual and reproductive health rights in rural and marginalized areas.
Implemented different programs from HIV prevention to SRIH with adolescents. And then we're now also into GBV prevention as well. I'm happy to be part of this process today with the strategic planning for the next cycle.
The agency's efforts have been dedicated to enhancing efforts to prevent teenage pregnancies, end violence against women and girls, and actively engaging youth in sustainable development goals and promoting comprehensive development in population metrics.
Yeah, it has made a difference. Why? Because long back we just used to go to the communities and tell them what to do, but the Not in My Village campaign now has empowered the chiefs, and the chiefs are now taking the lead in the communities to say no to child pregnancies and child marriages.
Collaboration with the government and local partners has been crucial in training healthcare personnel, ensuring that service delivery is inclusive of and sensitive to the needs of all communities.
What we want is really to come up with a program that is well prioritized, that looks at the key needs of the people of Zimbabwe and how UNFPA can support the government, because everything that we do has to be aligned to the National Development Plan. So as we see already, we see the alignment of the work that would want to then forge ahead for the next 4 years.
The hope is that these collaborative efforts between the government and development partners can be sustained and continue ensuring that no woman die while giving birth. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Mirira Nsingo.
Coming up on Newsplus, government moves to resolve the conflict between councillors and chiefs. Thank you for staying tuned to Newsplus. Local Government and Public Works Minister says government is almost through with the reconciliation of councillors and traditional leaders through a series of meetings countrywide. And in an interview with Zimpaper's Radio News soon after the reconciliation meeting at Masvingo Polytechnic College today, Minister Garwe said the drastic move follows numerous reports of power struggle with respect to mandates and functional roles, which government says would stifle a national development agenda.
The key issues that we are delivering these two critical institutions of government, the local authorities and the traditional leadership support system, is that of development. The traditional leadership as well as the local authorities form the third tier of government in terms of governance. So they have to work together for us to be able to realize the expectations of Vision 2030. What has been obtaining is councillors were looking down upon chiefs. They thought chiefs were a by-the-way arrangement in government. So this is now directed the Minister of Local Government to ensure that there is harmony between the chiefs and the local authorities.
Meanwhile, President of the National Chiefs Assembly, Chief Mjani Khumalo, said the reconciliation process is a welcome development, considering efforts being made by the Second Republic to transform Zimbabwe into a prosperous middle-income society by 2030.
The example of land allocation in rural areas was done by rural councillors. But the new constitution gave that responsibility to traditional leaders. So there was need to reconcile the councillors with the traditional leaders so that there is no wrangling as to who is still responsible for land and so on and so forth. But we are very grateful that the Honourable Minister has seen it fit that he starts this reconciliation exercise between traditional leaders and local authorities.
In other news on Newsplus, mental health organizations have united in a call to destigmatize mental health issues, emphasizing the need to restore and prevent tragic outcomes like suicides. And today, the world commemorated Mental Health Day, a platform for health education, for awareness and also advocacy against stigma surrounding mental health. We get more in the following report from Lato Nyangu.
This year's commemorations are running under the theme Access to Health Services, Mental Health Catastrophes and Emergencies. Some of the most common disorders include autism, attention deficit disorder, identity disorders, anxiety, depression, extreme spectrum, and dementia, among others. Metha Nyamande, an integrated psychotherapist, emphasized the importance of helping individuals with different types of mental health challenges.
People need to know what kind of support is available around them and where they can go when they're struggling with something. So when you see someone running down the street naked, that's an emergency. That's a medical, a psychiatric emergency. So we need to know how can we respond to a situation like that, and how can we advise this person or manage the situation so that we preserve his dignity. So that's what we're really here to talk about this week.
Another common and significant mental health challenge in Zimbabwe is depression. According to the World Health Organization, depressive disorders are estimated to affect about 4% of the country's population. Tinashe Chikafa, Programs Manager for Zimbabwe Early Intervention in Psychosis, believes disasters and other stressful experiences increase the risk of depression among people.
People in disasters have often been assisted with physical structures as well as finances, but of late, the mental health aspect hasn't been looked at, but I believe Zimbabwe has been at the forefront to try and also then integrate mental health services in post-disaster recovery program.
His message was echoed by Nyasha Gonye from the National Association of People with Psychosocial Disorders, who called for destigmatization of mental health issues.
We try to destigmatize this issue. We try to include them. We speak inclusion. no matter how much you have such a disorder, it doesn't mean that you are not a human being. We want to get rid of that concept that it's witchcraft. It's what we need to understand, that it's normal. Having a psychosocial disorder, it's normal.
Dr. Prince Ndua, a lifestyle medicine specialist, highlighted the significance of commemorating this day to foster inclusion for individuals with various social disorders.
Please, let's join hands as we give to the people hope of knowing that there is access to service, to mental health services in catastrophic and emergency situations.
Experts argue that mental health is not a destination, but a journey. It is about how you drive, not where you end up. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Latu Onyango reporting for ZN Prime in Harare.
We now give you your global updates. Ghanaian cyclist Emmanuel Akpo Adjei has become the first African to complete a solo cycling trip from Germany to Ghana, riding more than 10,000 kilometers through 15 countries in 104 days. The 37-year-old sports scientist left Munich on June 7, 2025 and arrived in Ghana's capital city, Accra, on September the 19th, 2025, where he was greeted by cheering relatives. Now his goal is to raise 100,000 euros for EduSports, a program that supports education and youth development in Ghana through athletics.
The biggest motivation is to make sure the underprivileged child in that deprived community somewhere in Ghana where no one actually thinks of would have an opportunity at a better and a brighter future through education and empowerment. So the mission of Bike to My Route is to raise funds and awareness to promote and support educational initiatives across Ghanaian communities in partnership with a hand-picked NGO called EduSports. So that's their mission, to promote education in rural communities across Ghana.
Hamas has agreed to a new deal through mediators that covers a ceasefire and hostage prisoner swap. The initial phase will see Israel withdraw to an agreed line within 24 hours and 72 hours for Hamas to release all Israeli hostages in return for hundreds of detained Palestinians. Later stages are set to cover the governance of Gaza, the future of the Hamas group, and reconstruction of the enclave.
We're at a momentous development in the last 2 years. We fought during these 2 years to achieve our war aims, and a central one of these war aims is to return the hostages, all of the hostages, the living and the dead. And we're about to achieve that goal. We couldn't have achieved it without the extraordinary help of President Trump and his team, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They worked tirelessly with Ron and his team, our team. That and the courage of our soldiers who entered Gaza and the combined military and diplomatic pressure that isolated Hamas, I think, has brought us to this point. I want to personally thank both of you, Steve, Jared. It's been long hours. You put in.
Meanwhile, with the Gaza ceasefire deal offering a tentative path toward ending the 2-year conflict that has killed over 67,000 Palestinians, injured almost 170,000 others, and left the enclave in ruins, Palestinians in the West Bank expressed cautious optimism towards this.
نحن بحاجة لوقف إطلاق النار، ولكن هذه الخطة هي خطة إسرائيلية أمريكية هدفها الاستيلاء على كل الشرق الأوسط، وما عجزوا عنه بالحرب بدهم يحققوه بالسلام الإبراهيمي وبخديعة العالم.
Newsplus will be right back and we'll give you your business updates. One of the stories being IMF sees a reform progress, stability in Zimbabwe.
Welcome wherever you are. And Mamouche, room to shoot! He well and truly did! It's an opportunity. What a shot to Sono! goal. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
The latest IMF report highlights a stabilization of Zimbabwe's gold-backed currency despite ongoing challenges such as inflation and limited currency availability. Hannah Mapisire gives us more.
The latest IMF findings follow consultations held in Harare between June and October, involving the IMF Executive Board, Zimbabwean government officials, and the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. The consultations point to signs of recovery after last year's sharp slowdown. The IMF credits tighter policies for easing inflation and exchange rate pressures. The Zimbabwe gold currency, introduced in April 2024 at 18.56 per USD and backed by gold and forex reserves, now trades at 25.90 per USD. According to the IMF, the RBZ has kept the rate stable within a narrow range through increased forex retentions, raised to 30% in February 2025 to build reserve capacity. The monetary base grew by 215% between April and September 2024, largely driven by the RBZ. Economist Tapio Manguero says this has resulted in banks holding excess reserves, reluctant to lend as they guard against currency depreciation.
But we should also look at the issue that banks might be holding excess reserves, like they do not want to lend it out because they are trying to preserve against a currency depreciation. We also see that there might be an increase in money supply, but it doesn't mean that it is getting into the economy that much, because we might have short-term government instruments that are being used to fund our projects, our infrastructure projects. So that's why you might not feel the inflation from that increase. And we should also take into consideration that the stock of USD also increases the stock of ZiG in terms of the exchange.
However, experts say while the ZiG has been stable, the currency has been circulating at a low scale, especially the printed notes.
The ZiG is actually a currency that is indeed circulating, but at a low scale, as indicated by its unavailability in the market. As we all know, demand and supply factors at play. If money supply is not growing at that fast pace, it means inflationary pressures are actually low.
Zimbabwe also has a 21 billion United States dollar public debt. Ian Banda says the government has a debt worth 1 billion United States dollars, which includes obligations to contractors and local government suppliers.
Analysis shows the stability is also underpinned by deliberate policy of creating artificial scarcity. How has this been done? We understand that the government has outstanding payments of around 1 billion US dollars. This is including the local component of the export surrender requirements, and also the money owed to government contractors and suppliers. So, as of when the government decides to actually pay the contractors and the outstanding payments to the outstanding local payments to the export surrender requirements, I think we are going to see an implosion of the ZiG.
Commendations center on monetary discipline and revenue hikes, while liquidity in areas accumulation demand action. Zimbabwe's policy pivot has delivered currency stability, inflation slowdown, and growing reserves at 900 United States dollars. For ZTM Prime, in Harare, I'm Hannah Mapisire.
Several small to medium enterprises alongside supporting institutions are showcasing their products and services at the Harare Gardens as the SMEs International Expo kicks off. The 4-day event running from the 8th to the 11th of October is aimed at promoting local entrepreneurship and encouraging partnerships for business growth. More in the following report.
This year marks the 15th edition of the SMEs International Expo. The event was created to give small businesses a platform to to showcase their products and services to the public. Organizers say the expo has continued to grow over the years, both in participation and impact.
SMEs International Expo, we created it in the sense that SMEs didn't have a platform to showcase their products and services, but with the SMEs International Expo, we have created that platform. And the key thing here is we didn't divorce the corporates from being part of the exhibition.
Arts and craft makers formed a significant portion of exhibitors at this year's expo. Arts trainer Avis Gati said the event gives them a chance to earn an income while giving back to the community. She works with an organization that makes crafts to raise funds for children with physical and mental challenges.
Some of the money to batsira my parents acho. We teach them. My parents tokwanisa kubatsirawo vana vavo kuti vakwanise kurarama, because vamwe vacho vatokwanisa kuwana kana sanitary wear kana chi, especially if they are girls. So we are here kuti tibatsirane navo. We help the community. Even my churches, we can train them for free. Kuita like zvatinoita izvozvi, crochet, my cushions, my hats, my fascinators.
Most small business owners spoke of the benefits that come with exposure through events like the expo. They said such platforms help them grow their brands and connect with new markets.
Chandiri kubenefita panapa exposure ndo number one. And then technology unoona zvinhu zvinoitwa update. You see the systems, they change. Kana uri kumba ungazione sei? Ungazive sei kuti utengesa online kwakanakirei? Ungazive sei kuti macustomer kuuya kuzotengesa panapa handisi kuinga mari, ndiri kuinga ma-confirmed and standing order kuti thereafter ndauya panapa mandionawo supply until the next fair. Saka mafairs aya anondiexpose and mafairs aya anondibatsira.
This year's expo ran under the theme Resilience and Agility, Navigating Change for SMEs, Future-Proofing for a Climate-Conscious World. Among the exhibitors were entrepreneurs showcasing products designed to respond to climate change. Marshall Muyambi, who sells traditional foods made from climate-resilient crops, called on big corporates to create more platforms for small businesses to showcase their work and thrive.
Asi dambudziko randinaro mwanangu kurima tiri kurima. Tiri kungoita hand to mouth. Sei dovi ndinokweretesa vavakidzani vangu. Pamwe pacho ndobhadharwa pamwe handibhadharwi. Saka ndakati dai kwawanika musika watinoziva kuti inini ndanga ndine zvinhu zvangu saizvozvi zvanditi musika uyu ndinongouyawo semudzimai kana kuchirejiswa ndorejiswa ndopoto ndichiuya tomboti kana once a week kana once a month ndichiuya ndichitengesawo zvinhu zvangu.
SMEs remain a crucial part of Zimbabwe's economy. Latest statistics indicate that they contribute more than 60% to the country's gross domestic product. Sheo Mujenjema for ZTN News in Harare.
Newsplus will be right back with updates for you in the world of sport.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capital 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
FIFA consultant Marcos Pellegrini has called on the local clubs to be abreast with modern trends so as to unlock value as well as continue learning about things to develop football. We get more in the following report.
The curtain came down on the African edition of the FIFA Campus Essential Course in Club Management that was being held in the capital. The two-day program brought together football administrators and club executives from the Premier Soccer League, Zimbabwe Women's Premier Soccer League, as well as the current two top teams in each of the 4 regional Division 1 leagues. FIFA consultant Marcos Pellegrini believes there's need to have strong local clubs and called on clubs to connect with their fans as well as being abreast with the modern trends.
We all have our local team. We can support, a big international team, but we all have our local team. We all follow, I think, our local league. I think for the sake of football, it's good to have strong local leagues. We also need to think like, okay, in African countries, the population mostly is composed of the youth. But if we look at many clubs, they have brands that come from 1950s. How do we want to connect with that new audience that is less than 30 years old? When they were born, the seal of the club is not something that they can identify with because the brand is quite old. We need to bring those clubs to today's reality in terms of digital branding and everything, so they can market themselves in a better way.
Pellegrini says the essential course in club management is important as it gives clubs an insight on things they can achieve if they do things the right way.
I think it's very important. This is just the foundation, the beginning. There needs to be a follow-up and a plan to be put in place in the near future. I think it's going to be very helpful for them. I hope so, that they can get a lot of insights and knowledge. But at the end, it's up to them in the near future to make sure that whatever they learn today and tomorrow, it's implemented in a good health. I think it's going to keep growing. I've always said this. Obviously, change doesn't happen overnight, but with initiatives like this, you see people in the room very, very keen to grow, learn, and put those ideas that they're getting today in place to make sure that we can grow together.
The workshop comes at the right time as it helps change a lot in the local football landscape from the top flight down to the lower leagues.
We have an update for you on the match against the Warriors and Bafana Bafana. The Zimbabwe senior men's football team held South Africa to a goalless draw at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, denting Bafana Bafana's hopes of automatic World Cup qualification. Now, South Africa came into the match desperate for a win after losing 3 points due to a FIFA sanction. And Walter Msona came close for Zimbabwe with a powerful free kick late in the game, while both teams were reduced to 10 men after red cards for Knowledge Msona and Mbegezeli Bogazi. The Warriors now shift focus to their next Group C clash and an away match against Lesotho on Monday in Polokwane. Now, still on your sports updates, FIFA Head of Development Programs in Africa, Solomon Mudege, says the World Football Governing Body is behind the efforts by ZIFA to revive the local game and make the nation competitive again on the global stage. Mudege, however, is concerned by the progress being made by the nation in embracing key football blueprints such as club licensing.
I think ZIFA and the new ZIFA leadership are very aware of this particular matter, and it's something that's important for them. I think the only aspects of club licensing that we've had in the past have been on stadium approvals locally, as well as coach qualification on the bench. But there are other elements which need to be catered for, and now what we are working on together with the club management, club licensing manager, as well as the ZIFA administration, is to look at a way in which we can really implement the local club licensing regulations. So this is just the intro. There'll be further workshops focusing on ZIFA's club licensing regulations, not just for the men, but also for the women under the FIFA Women's Football Development Program. So you are right that there hasn't been much progress, but I think now the message is clear that we need to make this progress for the benefit of our local football and for the fans and everyone involved in football.
Now, a number of African clubs have benefited from the club management and professionalism program, with Zimbabwe being the first nation from the COSAFA region to undergo such an initiative, which plays a key role in changing how clubs perform at the big stage.
we as FIFA also felt that it was important for Africa to have an opportunity. So we've been working with the first edition, where we focused on most of the countries which historically have been participating in the AFCON and have been hosting the AFCON. So we did that last year with countries such as Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. And now we are focusing on a regional basis. So we've started this course in Zimbabwe here, the on-site session, as well as we'll be proceeding to Zambia and then to Lesotho. But there'll also be online sessions that all these participants will be able to participate in. And they're focusing on what is expected in modern football management. So looking at issues such as governance, looking at strategic planning, looking at marketing and sponsorship, so that we are able to assist the clubs so that they are performing at higher levels, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch as well.
Central Region outfit Shersham have reversed their decision of withdrawal from the Central Region Division 1 as well as the Zimbabwe Women's Premier Soccer League. Now, the club says its decision of resuming participation in the two league comes after constructive engagements with various football stakeholders. The side had withdrawn from the Central Region as well as the Zimbabwe Women's Premier Soccer League due to an alleged uneven playing field, with ZIFA then appointing an ad hoc committee to investigate circumstances that led the side to withdraw. Now, in the Division 1 Eastern Region, log leaders Masvingo United are locking horns with the rivals FC Hunters, which are trailing by a point with only 3 games left. ZTN Prime managed to speak to the FC Hunters coach Clifford Jairo during their final training session this afternoon at their home ground, Rudaka Stadium in Marondera.
As we are seeing, we're doing fine, we're quite prepared, and we are getting ready. Today is our last training session of the week. We've been working with the boys to recover, psychologically from the last previous fixture where we lost 1-0 against Rengo. We are good, and we are quite pleased with what we are seeing in the team. The boys, how they are reacting, and now they are very, very ready, to play and to participate on Sunday. The target has been always to get promotion to the PSO by the end of the season, and we've been performing very well throughout the season. And as we've been performing, it will be very, very difficult if we are going to end the season, without laying our hands on something.
FC Hunters captain Kanisio Marimajira also added his voice, saying the Clever Boys are ready for the much-awaited encounter with their rivals.
Based on the game versus Masvingo on Sunday, we just want to make sure that we collect maximum points. As our rivals, we need to beat them. No room for complacence. We just need to grind the result. If we don't play well, we just need to get the result. We just need to grind the result. If you beat Masvingo, if you beat Tenax, we are home and dry. That's all we can say for now. And as you can see, the boys are mentally prepared, they are geared up, and everything is set for us. We just need to.
And that's a wrap on Newsplus this Friday evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. We absolutely appreciate your company. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Good night from myself and the crew behind the scenes. Now, as we get into the weekend, we leave you watching the weather forecast.